So, let's talk about two things today. Well, while I'm talking, there's two rounds actually. One is color blindness, and second, well, do you know about blind spot in your eye? Yeah, that's what we'll talk about. It's really important when you want to be a doctor, or even if you want to know about it to study yourself in the university. Alright, let's start with round one. So, in round one, we'll talk about color blindness. People ask me, what is color blindness? What is the meaning of, people that have color blindness? Are they blind? Or are they cannot see anything? Well, I cannot say certain, but let's look at it. Well, colorblind, or we can say color blindness for us, is not always people blind by anything, like blind by other colors, but actually colorblind is people that cannot see certain color, or people that cannot see certain color, or we can say disambiguation. Colorblind, also known as color vision deficiency, is a decreased ability to see color or difference in the color. For example, dark green with dark blue. That's really hard. The very dark one is really are matching together. It's really different. It's really hard for them, or for people that have colorblind, to see them. Well, I cannot do anything, but when we normal people will see the difference and we can identify what color is that. But for the most cases, on people that cannot see, like for example, very dark color, they cannot differentiate it. Well, we only can say it's fine. We just need to help them. We just need to tell them, oh, this color is this color is this. But mostly, let's respect what they are. So, people with total color blindness may also have decreased visual acuity and be uncomfortable in bright environments. Well, this is pretty rare. People with total color blindness is pretty rare in my environment, so I cannot, relate what's happening to that person. But it's pretty depressing because they cannot see anything. They only can see black and white, and they cannot see other color. But what caused this is it's because like your retina, or behind the retina, there is like a place they place like rods of color, like cone. They were placed there to differentiate every color that we saw from your laptop, from your phone, from everything. But when people with color blindness, some of them cannot reflect the color, or I can say it's not sensitive to the light. Well, in the worst scenario, with people, for example, people that have color blindness to red, it's pretty difficult to see traffic light, apple, or everything that was red. They will say it was dark yellow. But if people with colorblind in green, they will see green apple as bright yellow. Well, how can we help them? Well, we can help them by saying, oh, this is green, this is red. But people mostly right now still, getting colorblindness because of their own parents and genetic. So it cannot be helped, right? Let's move on. People with colorblindness is really difficult to, selecting like different color fruit, and then choosing clothing, and reading traffic lights will be more challenging, as I say. Colorblindness may also make some educational activity more difficult. However, problems are generally minor, and most people find that they can adapt. So that's pretty good news, right? So how is colorblindness is, being transferred is because of the genetic of their parents. I already said in the beginning. People with parents with color blindness mostly are not affected, really are as bad as you think, because it's only minor, so it won't affect you too much. So, well, let's continue then to round 2. Well, what do you want to talk about round 2? It's blind spot. People know, oh, blind spot, what is that? People always ask. But for us, educational or student, we already know. Oh, blind spot, it's a spot in our eye that we cannot see anything. That's not true, because in that spot, it's only a little spot like a dot on our retina, specifically place it out of the focus. But when we try to focus on the blind spot, you cannot see the object or even what you write there. So, let me say about the description first. Blind spot. Small portion of the visual field of each eye that corresponds to the position of the optic disc, also known as optic nerve head, within the retina. There are no photoreceptors. In other words, rods or cones in the optic disc, and therefore there's no image detection in that area. So that place is not sensitive at all to any light, and there's no receptor there to give the signal to our brain to say, hey, there's a spot or a dot. For example, you have a piece of paper. You have 2 dots, one here, one here, and you can experiment with that. I'll tell you a sec. If you want to experience with that, it's pretty easy. So, cover your right eye and look to the left on the dot that you make. You will see nothing on the left side. It's the same on the right side. But people have different, size of it, and everything should not be the same. So, people with blind spot, it doesn't mean that we are not good or we are blind. Every people have blind spot, don't forget about that. But our blind spot can be achieved by using an experiment. Today I will not talk about the experiment. Let's move on again to the, what causes blind spot in your vision. Let's see. Some blind spot can be caused by simple migraine, while other can be caused by glaucoma, macular degeneration, or retina detachment. So all that will happen or will cause you a blind spot. Or maybe people with eye problem, they probably got glaucoma or maybe something else. So they will got this symptom and they will have much more blind spot than us normal people. But us that was healthy enough or considered as healthy, we still have blind spot, and we cannot ignore that because it was our biology body that create that. So it's not a bad thing, but we cannot make it bigger or anything. We cannot change it, we cannot do operation on it. It will be not possible to achieve because our body already have blind spot, but that blind spot doesn't mean that you're having a defect or something. It's your eyes adapting to your environment, but this blind spot is naturally were grown because of sometimes you see at the wrong light, or even the blind spot was already there when you're born. Mostly people doesn't know about that, but today I'll tell you why is the blind spot is important. Well, people doesn't seem to say blind spot is important. Let's read it. I'll tell you today. Our eye has a blind spot for a very good reason. Why is a very good reason? All the information that the retina picks up is sent to our brain through the optic nerves. Okay? The only problem is that the optic nerves needs a way to get out of the eye. The place where it leaves is where we have our blind spot. So we cannot think that, oh yeah, I cannot see those stuff, or I cannot see that, or like the blind spot is bad. But blind spot is actually a place where we send out our impulse to our brain to identify what we see. Got it now? Good. So that's all for today. I don't want to get it longer than now, but people always doesn't know anything. Our body is still a mystery. I still don't know about my own body. Even you guys. Well, that's in the future. But one thing, or we can say lastly, our conclusion. Well, don't forget, the conclusion of this video or everything that I explained is, 1. Color blindness is not a really common disease. It's a really rare disease, but it doesn't seem to affect many people that was with that disease, because it only causes a minor damage or minor change to your eye, what you see. But mostly people can adapt to it, and they can tell by it because they only have like one or two color that was blind. But if the people was born with every color he cannot see, or he or she, well, that's a big of work. But we always have to appreciate our body, and we cannot destroy it. And lastly, about the blind spot, don't forget, blind spot is not a bad thing. Blind spot is a very important thing, because blind spot is the place where your optic nerves are placed and connected to our brain. Alright, thank you for listening. I'm Randy. I'm out. Peace.